Walking, walking everyone.
Walking everyone to Welcome After Whiskey.
Where's Sever? Welcome everyone to Walking After Whiskey. I'm Shorty.
And I'm Travis. We're going to break down your latest episode of The Walking Dead tonight.
We're going to see, or actually break down season 9, episode 6.
Entitled, Who Are You Now?
So, we're also going to break down some Top Shelf whiskey.
We're breaking down a bottle of Weller Private Reserve tonight. A very famous and amazing bourbon. My friend Scott here tells me it's the same people that make Pappy's, which is a very expensive and delicious bottle of whiskey.
Fancy.
Very fancy. Pinky up. Well, you ready for the review, Shorty?
We're ready.
There you go.
Oh, thank you. Long arms.
Woo.
Cheers, everyone.
First thing we're going to talk about on last night's episode was we see Ezekiel, we see Carol, we see Henry. They're in the basement of a very decrepit kingdom.
And I guess, I was very surprised that of all the places to kind of deteriorate, it was the kingdom.
Sure.
And everybody has to be shocked at Carol's hair. I just got to mention it right now.
Her hair.
Got to get it out of the way. Carol, go back to the new.
Remember, what happens to public schools without funding? I mean, they're already decrepit as it is. I mean, you can imagine your last high school without its funding for the last 5 years. What would happen there?
There's a lot of machetes around. I feel like you could do a nice machete maybe.
Oh, her hair. I was talking about the facilities. Sorry.
I'm a girl. I'm talking about her
hair. Sure, still.
But you see that. But I really was taken aback that out of all the places, the kingdom was the one that they first discussed deteriorating.
Yeah,
so.
We see it breaking down, and Henry tries to piece together a broken pipe with duct tape and panels, and he goes, "I can't keep doing this with duct tape and paper. I can't. We're falling apart. I need to go to the hilltop to go learn how to weld." Little black.
And Ezekiel's concerned. He doesn't want to do that. He's got his little nest egg, I guess, right, keeping everyone at home.
Sure.
And that's not Carol's way.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that about her. You know, she's kind of, you can't keep him here forever, and her motherly instincts.
Sure.
And I think it's really cool. I mean, we got to remember that Carol was a mother at one point in time before she lost Sophia.
Right.
And now she's got Henry to kind of take under her wing, and it was cool to see her take on that motherly role.
It's really cool right now if you're a comic book fan as well, because Ezekiel looks more like the comics. He has feathers in his hair now. It's a lot longer, a lot grayer. He's almost all the way white in the comic books as it is. It's also fun to see how Henry is taking on the role of Carl. Carl actually wanted to leave Alexandria to learn how to weld because he felt he didn't have a place in Alexandria where he wanted to help out more, and they were falling apart there. So we're now seeing Henry take over that role of Carl from the comic book. So you can see a lot of his storyline follow where Carl should have went to.
Interesting. You know, they set Henry up to be a significant role going forward.
Sure.
So we get to see how that plays out.
Oh. So then we see as Carol and them take off, we go back to. Last episode, we've seen Judith had actually found some stragglers out in the wilderness, and she brings the 5 people back to Alexandria with help of Andrew.
And so how the last episode ended was seeing Judith, we're taking them, and see, did we decide she's around 10ish?
Yeah, we think about 10 or 11. 10-ish? Yeah,
you see
about 5-year jump.
Put her foot down and make the decision. And that comes from her dad, that comes from Michonne's assertiveness, I'm sure. And I don't even know, they cast that child very well.
Right.
They cast her very well.
Looks just like her dad, Shane. Right?
Oh, dude,
does it?
Old.
It does. The nose. What can do? You can do genetics.
Well, no, does she not have that nose? No, we'll say she looks more like Lori. We're gonna go there. Looks like her mother. She got her mother's good looks. Although, okay, moving on.
One thing that was cool about that part too is Andrew actually spoke up when Michonne came in and said, "Who brought these people here? You broke protocol," which Eugene actually referred to. You're breaking security protocol, which Michonne is security. Basically saying, you're not doing what Michonne wants us to do. And they brought it back, and Andrew spoke up and said, "I brought them here." And Judith goes, "No, I did." So right now, she's standing up to her mom, and she's creating conflict. But the whole group kind of knows, what's Michonne going to do now? Like, this is Rick's daughter. Like, is she really going to buckle to her? Is she going to show that she's assertive over this person? Because this is things that Rick would have done, and which is kind of irked me a little bit more because Andrew brought them into Alexandria. You think that he'd have a little more pull about bringing people in? Kind of irked me in two ways.
But I was a little surprised that Michonne her title was security, head of security.
Sure.
Like, I really thought with what she was trying to do with establishing laws and establishing rules, that she would have taken on a different role. But
sure.
I guess in the end, she signed up to do what she does best.
And a lot has happened. They allude to there's a council now, which Gabriel brought up, and we also know something bad happened at the hilltop. And so there's a lot of conflict happened already that we haven't seen. I think we'll see it alluding back to what happened before, especially with Maggie, who was supposed to be gone in season 2. I think whatever happened to her as well is going to happen in a flashback.
So we didn't see a lick of Maggie this episode.
No hilltop, just like that.
At all. And I know we'll get to it in a minute, but it's funny that the newcomers, we're going to ship you off to Hilltop.
Right.
So we'll get to that.
We see Carol taking Henry up to Hilltop with a bunch of supplies, and on the way up there, Henry hears a woman in distress.
Trap!
Yeah, she was a trap. She was definitely a trap.
Bless Henry's heart, and even Carol, though, right off the bat, don't go.
Yeah,
don't
go.
do this. Like, Carol's got just the best instinct, and that's when I knew that
What was wrong?
something good was going to happen, because Carol's like, don't go. Don't go. And, of course, it was a big mousetrap.
Yep, huge.
And it's the saviors that Carol was actually in an altercation with not too many episodes ago. So.
It was Rat, and it was the guy who she almost killed and let go twice. Jeff. Good. Jed. Awesome. Jed.
Not Jed, not Jeff, Jed.
So they set him up in this trap, and it was we alluded to earlier in one of our own talking about this episode that the Rat actually had a harpoon on her, which kind of made it seem like we know that they had conflict with the Oceanside, and that was their weapon. So it's almost kind of weird that now she has it after the conflict that had already happened with them and the whole shootout at the campfire. So Oceanside might not be there anymore, because it seems like if they're walking around with their weapons, obviously something's wrong. And they already alluded to Jed did that the Saviors broke up and they disbanded all of their encampment has already been gone.
But I did think that it's interesting. So Jed's conversation with Carol was like, we don't need this, we don't need this, we don't need this, we're just taking this.
Sure.
And then at the end, he takes the one thing, the one emotional thing, right? He takes her ring, and it's probably the one thing that Henry, like, that puts him over the edge.
Sure.
So, like, Jed's just a jerk. He really is just a jerk.
The funny thing was, I think that she would have let him all go had it not been for the ring. And she's like, "Are you fucking kidding? What are you gonna do with this ring? Like, really? Like, she probably let them go with the horse and the carriage. Like, we get it. You guys are scavengers. Take it." She said, "Take it." But taking that ring was like, "You're not gonna fuck Carol over like that." No.
Well, I don't even know that, by the way, because Carol's not into the whole marriage thing. Like, we see now that they got married.
Right.
And I actually didn't see that coming. I thought for sure she was going to push that off for as long as she could. But I think it's that conversation with Henry that she has that's like that trigger. Like, I've lost
everything.
I've lost my badassness. And I make up words on this show all the time. And now my
It's bigly. It was a bigly word.
But she did. And I think that conversation with Henry is what kind of lit the fire in her again, and then she lights some more fire.
Yep. So then, as she alludes to, Carol puts Henry to bed, and while he's asleep, she sneaks back out to get her ring and her supplies back. Actually, I think she just wanted the ring. She goes back there. She goes back there. She sees Jed laying down and has a conversation with Jed about everything. I
think, though, that it wasn't so much about the ring. I think the ring is a symbol of her to be able to tell Henry that I heard you and I got this and I took care of the situation. Because you see your mom come back with the one thing that she lost. What else do you allude to, right? It has to be that. And I am so happy to see Carol back. It's kind of stupid. Like, I'm so happy.
That's Carol.
No mercy.
Yep.
Like, and finally, I'm gonna quote Pulp Fiction, Jed's dead.
Jed's dead.
Like, but they deserved it, and finally Carol delivered. So, super great. And we still kind of don't know what happened with that fight back at the camp.
Yeah. We still
don't know, but obviously he was able to be let go, so something happened. But for her to take her revenge. The ring, I think, was more of a symbol, but I think it was that conversation with Henry.
And then we see at the very last scene of those two together, we see her go up a pathway. Like she goes, "Hey, let's go up here for a second." And she sees Daryl walking around, and she knows where Daryl is. Like their hearts are connected. They're like two trains passing in the night. As much as Carol's found happiness with Ezekiel, she's gonna love Daryl forever. You know. Yeah, let's go back to your first booty, right?
Well, that never happened.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
So here's my like pipe dream that Ezekiel gets killed off and then they get back together. Finally, they'll get together. So I don't know. That's my pipe dream.
So then we go back to Alexandria. We see the council, and there's the 5 newcomers are talking, just basically saying who they are now and what they can offer to the community and why they should be let in. Father Gabriel's in the council. One of the members from Negan's group is in there too, which is kind of weird. The Saviors, the blonde-haired girl. Michonne's there, and Gabriel was Rosita there? No. It was about 8 of them. Andrew was on the council, and they all listened to them speak about who they were and who they are now.
And from their speeches, like they were compelling, and kind of a part of me was like, oh, just let him in, and then Michonne has to kind of assert some power and calls Magma out. And I guess it's more about what happens after that, but we'll get onto this next, right? So then Gabriel, so next scene is Gabriel and Rosita talking about how Michonne riled them all up.
More than talking. More than talking.
Gabriel has some game.
Yeah.
Who knew Gabriel had so much?
White girls, Mexican girls, Gabriel has got all the colors.
FFI, don't matter. My weird hat, don't matter. I got game. Gabriel got game. So, but I actually never saw that coming out.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, I was kind of jaw dropped too, for sure.
Jaw hit the ground. So I actually thought that was really cool because we didn't see that coming. So they threw a little twist in there.
Sure.
But you get that. So the show acknowledges that Michonne riled the courtroom up. Like she wasn't gonna let everything go without a fight.
Yep, she baited them all. And then so they call convene back in their own quarters. Rosita and Gabriel have this discussion saying, hey, if we put this repeater, this extender out of one of those water towers out there, we can reach so many more people. And then Rosita leads to like, hey, maybe we don't want to know these people. Like maybe that's what we're going to want to know. And Gabriel again, with the Rick in his head, is like, hey, but we can help some people out.
Right.
And so Rosita goes, fine, I got it, I love you. Now, and her and Eugene go out to go plant this extender on a water tower.
And so even with the opening scene when Eugene actually kicks some ass, he's got some skills now.
He does. Roll balls to him now.
Everybody knows Eugene ain't gonna make it out okay. But Eugene is like the female in every Friday the 13th movie that stumbles, that falls. Like he really is. And bless his heart, like the best thing is that dumbass like tries to tell Rosita like his feelings, and she's like,
Stop.
Just stop.
Stop. Yeah.
So whatever with his knee and.
He goes to the tower. He sees a horde of zombies, and he jumps off of the tower because his ladder falls to the very end. But we also see as they run away. This is the preview you see when there's people that slide down the muddy bank and put mud on themselves, and they actually hear a zombie ask, "Where are they?" Zombies go, "They went this way." So the zombies are now talking to each other, or they're trying to show that they are, but I know they're not talking to each other because of who? The Whisperers. That's right.
What?
They're still coming. I swear they're coming. But the zombie.
And that happens. Like, and I actually said when I'm watching the show, I'm like, those are the ending scene.
No.
Whispers are coming. Finally, the Whisperers are coming.
Yep. Yeah, I want to break down a couple little scenes as we go back in here with. We see Judith finds the little brick statue that Michonne had found out. It's a officer guy with a brown hat, very like someone painted it for her, like very like manga-esque, just perfect beige shirt, brown pants, brown goatee, just total Rick with a brown hat. It was perfect.
That was the poster. Like that's the main walking.
Of the first,
poster,
yeah.
Right, which is kind of cool.
It was very cool.
Very cool.
So Michonne kept in to hit it, and Judith finds it when Michonne throws her satchel around. She kind of holds it, and her and Michonne have this heart-to-heart about why they should keep the people in there. And she talks to Michonne and says basically, you know, I'm starting to forget their voices. I can't hear them anymore. I hope that you still can. And it kind of foreshadows, like, maybe she's talking about the voices of what they're saying, or the voices in the actual tone of their voice, because this is her mother and her brother. Sorry, father and her brother. So it's very, very heart-stringy moment, you know, and Michonne totally starts breaking down on it.
Well, let's go back. So this is now probably a 10-year-old, right? I think we kind of settled on
Very old for her age, right?
I got a big fucking gun, and I'm sitting on the stairwell. Like, so that's like, she's there to protect her mom, which I think is very, very cool. And yeah, that was the most heart-wrenching scene. You have a 10-year-old girl who lost her brother, lost her father, and now she's kind of, not that she'll forget them, but she's gonna forget small things. I mean, she's a young girl still.
Yes, right. And every day goes by, she would forget those tones. You know, she was only, at this point, she'd have been 5 when her dad left. 5 when her brother left. You know, as big as a part of her life that they were, as you get older, you just forget things like sounds, people's voices.
And by the way, she didn't even know her mother's voice, right?
Ever.
She doesn't even know her
She was carved out, and Carl killed her mom. So, but we also see something very cool. We see a very young little boy run up to Michonne.
RJ.
How cool is that?
And I actually called that. I was actually, because there was a WAW scene, right, where
that means sex.
Like wants to.
That's sex.
So where Michonne definitely tells Rick, like, we need to start the next generation. And he's like, all right, let's do this. And I called that. I knew that I was actually very happy.
Yeah, absolutely.
That happened.
Huge.
Very happy.
What do you think RJ stands for?
Rick James, bitch.
So that was the episode. At the very end, Michonne goes up and puts on one of Rick's shirts.
Sorry.
I'm not gonna wait. Puts on one of Rick's shirts and like basically hugs herself like, oh, this is Rick again. I remember I was starting to forget his voice as well, and she remembers the voice of, you know, almost everyone's there because Carl brought them in and Rick brought them in. So she had to go back to her inner self and say, you know what, Judith must have a good feeling with these people. I will too. And so she goes to counsel and says, change of mind. We'll let you stay, but you can't stay here.
So how weird is that though? So what you get in this episode is a lot of the other I don't want to say kingdoms, but a lot of the other places that we're so used to, they're all falling apart.
Sure.
Like the hilltop definitely getting decrepit. Like the station, like everything's kind of except for Alexandria. So as soon as they come down, you gotta go. Or we're gonna dump you off on Maggie and the hilltop.
Well, you know, I also thought it might have been more poignant as if maybe they're dumping them there because they need more help. Like, hey, we got it here. We don't really need any more help. We'll bring it to the hilltop. They need a lot of workers, lumberers up there. So.
But we also talked about getting them out of Alexandria because who's there?
Negan's still there.
Negan's still there. And Negan, look at this segue that I'm in for right now. Negan looking very clean, very healthy, and obviously still has a relationship with Judah.
Yeah, I actually spoke about how Henry is now taking on Carl's role, but so has Judith. Carl used to not only obviously wanted to leave Alexandria to learn more things like blacksmithing, he also talked to Negan a lot. He was a rock for Negan. Negan was able to help raise Carl and give him lots of advice, things that he couldn't ask Rick about, like girls and sex, things like that. Negan was very forthcoming in that information. So Judith, obviously not old enough for that type of thing, but uses Negan as like a mentor. She's helping him with the math homework. She sits down there and does her homework with Negan, which is a pretty amazing, little tool, because he always said he wanted kids. He loved Judith and he loves children. So now he gets to spend his day, growing. It's almost like the canary man of Alcatraz. He has a bird to talk to.
That tension when I apologize, whatever season, whatever episode, but that tension when Negan is in Rick's house with Judith,
and Carl, making spaghetti.
The tension.
Oh my God.
There. And Judith doesn't know. Rick James, bitch.
She's like spaghetti, man.
Food for me, like SpaghettiOs. Like, I'm cool with
Spaghetti
that.
Wednesday.
But I love that Judith talking to Negan, getting help on homework. She still gets a dig on him.
Yep.
Like she still gets a dig. And but you still have to figure out what happens with Negan.
You know, we'll see later on, but honestly, he plays such a big role in seasons ahead, and we know how badass Whisperers are. I think at some point, they're going to keep Negan on a short leash and have him help him. Negan's people are all gone. No one's going to help Negan now. But Negan can very well help them with strategy in games and fighting. So
Carol just took out the kind of the rest of the key saviors, right?
Sure.
Carol just took them out. So what happened? And you kind of think like they're shipping people off to the hilltop that maybe might go askew, so they don't want them even to be around Negan at all. But it's an interesting relationship, and I know that we have some people that posted on the Facebook page, like, what do y'all think about that conversation with Negan and Judith? Like, it's a weird fatherly figure
dynamic for sure.
So it's an interesting dynamic. So, and you know something's going to happen with that. Like, I feel something's going to happen.
I think when it comes down to brass tacks at the very end, it's going to take a cunning, scary individual to fight a scary, cunning group of people. And I think at some point Negan's going to come in and help be that leader. Although he'll be taken out of power very fast, I think at some point they're going to need Negan's help and expertise in just being evil as shit to get to have a common enemy. I think they will. And honestly, I think at this point, after being 5 years of seeing the place grow, I think Negan, I'm not going to say he's good, but these people have all grown on him. And it's almost like Stockholm fever. Like after being captive for so long, you assimilate. So at some point, he probably thinks he's one of them, even though he is in prison.
Okay, so you've alluded to several episodes about the Whispers coming. And finally, I feel like the last scene,
they're here.
Whispers have to be here. Like they have to be. There has to be some big controversy is the wrong word.
Yin to the yang,
climactic thing that happens. Because the enemies are gone. Negan's in jail. Saviors, the last of the key saviors are gone. Just dead. And so you figure, like, so now I'm super curious about the Whispers.
They're coming, and you can also read a comic book to find out what they're about. Comics that you already have.
I do have them, but I have a long list of Stephen King books that I'm getting through right now. So.
Well, great episode. Great review. Thank you, Shorty. Thank you, everyone, for sticking around.
Cheers, everyone. Cheers.